it's my first time in Chicago, and it's my 4th convention in America. I think the first one I did was Kansas City. That was quite a shock to my system, I tell you, but it was great. And then, thank you. And then I went to Miami, Florida, of course, and here. And what was the other one? Oh dear, I forgot. Oh, LA. At the beginning of this year, May. And that was pretty good. I enjoyed myself. I really did. But in this profession, I suppose, when people think, oh, you travel all the time, but sometimes you don't. And for me to be asked out to America, after doing a show, which I did 24 years ago, it's amazing, it really is. And I don't actually understand really why the interest is here. I did it so long ago, because when I first did it, it was like, oh yeah, got another series, great, you know, another job. But 20 years afterwards, they're inviting me all over the place, all over the world. Can you explain this to me? Because there's such a large following, or what? I love it, don't get me wrong, I adore it. I love meeting people.
Well, in your case, I think we're more curious because none of your episodes exist complete. So we don't know none of them play complete on television here.
No, they don't. That's true.
So we're more curious because we don't have even the full work to appreciate your time in the series.
Yes, I understand that. I don't know why they trashed them, really. I've heard various stories about why they did it. One, which I don't believe at all, that lovely Pat Troughton said, no, I want them white. Now, why just my era? Don't ask me, I'm not that bad. But I don't believe that at all. Pat was a wonderful person. And we got on very well. We were like family on the day, Dr. Jamie, myself, I should say Fraser, and myself, and Pat. And Pat became like a second dad to me. So I don't believe that story at all. I think it was just purely, probably, the Stockholm situation, and they had to get more in.
That's the basic press release statements is that there was lack of capability to store everything, so they were using tapes.
But I find it so amazing that you have a huge corporation like the BBC, and they're going to basically trash some Hancocks.
Plus, nowadays, you never reuse tapes. You don't tape over on used tapes to tape stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know?
No, I know.
One of their excuses was this was done in the middle of the John Pertwee era, which was color, and they were saying that we're never going to repeat them on the BBC, and there's no interest overseas in black and white. So they trashed the black and white ones and kept the color from that point on. They didn't realize at all any marketing potential in Doctor Who at the time.
At the time. But I'm sure now they do.
Yeah.
And that's all this interest in it, and you go all over the world or whatever, you know, come on.
Well, now one of your episodes is on the Troughton years tape, so...
One of my episodes?
Yeah, the Abominable Snowman.
Oh, yeah. Actually, there are about 7 surviving. I think the very first episode I ever did was number 2 of the Evil of the Daleks, when I was introduced as a new companion. That exists. And the first one exists, which I'm not in, but forget the rest, they've got it.
Ice Warriors as well.
Ice Warriors, we've got 4, haven't we?
Right.
I think 4. And 2 of, where Pat played Salamander.
Enemy of the World.
Oh, well done, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Yes. And nothing of Fury of the Deep is there, and nothing of Assignment. But you have the Yetis.
Web of Fear.
Web of Fear and...
Snowman.
That's right, a couple of those. So really, all you've got recorded is 7.
So do you remember, you're quoting titles very quickly, do you remember all the titles of the stories, and do you remember dialogue or stories?
No, I don't actually. I mean, when I was first asked to do these conventions, I thought, it's been so long ago, I don't know if I can remember anything at all.
How old were you when you were casting that part? I
was about 19.
This was your first big acting break to be casting this, or had you been doing trials after?
I'd done a lot before.
You were in the Invisible Man series, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
I've seen that over
playing
here.
Sally, the little girl who was,
Like
down
5
there.
years old or something,
Like,
right?
what?
How young?
Well, I was 9 actually, 10 at the time. I looked like 5, and I was down there. I haven't grown a lot since, but I was down there. And yes, I did that when I was 9 or 10.
They showed that on a local station in New York.
Yeah?
Yeah, like about 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't even realize you were in it until I saw the credits. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. I got a tape sent through to me of The Invisible Man. And my mother happened to be in my house at the time. I said, I've got this tape, Mother. It says The Invisible Man. She said, oh, Daddy, let's look at it. So I put it on. And this young girl came through the doors. And I thought, it was in black and white, of course. And I thought, I remember the colour of that frock I was wearing. But it went on and I said, Mummy, I said, Mother, she reminds me of somebody. And Mother turned around and said, well, it's you fool. And I said, no. But I look just like one of my nieces now, and it's quite extraordinary. But what I didn't know, I had another tape sent through to me, and my father, Jackpot, was in one of the episodes, which I wasn't in. I had no idea. And I put this on.
He was in one of the Invisible Man episodes?
Yes, he was. And he was a pilot in the plane, right? I think he was the co-pilot. Other guy was the pilot. And I put this on and I thought, I think I know that face. I certainly know the voice. And then all of a sudden, of course, it occurred to me, it was Dad.
You
And
didn't
I
recognize
worked it
him?
out that when he did that program, he was like late 30s, 40s, and I thought, my goodness me, I'm that now. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, oh, I saw Dad, a young Dad. It was brilliant. Loved it. And the other thing I didn't know, that Pat was in one of these episodes, but we never met. We never had a scene together. So Pat and I did work together before Doctor Who, but we never met. But like 10 years later, we did.
Were you responsible or partly responsible for casting your father in the Abominable Snowman story?
Absolutely. Dad's quite proud of this, because you get the storylines of the scripts, like, I don't know, 4 weeks before you do them. I was a tight schedule on Who. We did like 47 episodes in 1 year, and it takes a week to do it, so a bit like this. Anyway, I got this rundown, and I thought, cool, I bet Father could play Professor Travers. He was, as I say, young at the time. I thought, well, make him up, put a beard on him, and the old hats and things, and he can do it. And I knew Dad was out of work at the time, so I went to Innes Lloyd, and I said, here. I said, have you cast Professor Travers yet? And I said, one word, Father. He went, brilliant. Yeah. So I went home that night, and I said, Dad, do you want to work with me? He said, pardon? And I said, this is a great storyline, this character in it, Professor Travers. So he did work with me. And it was so successful, and I loved the character, that he was brought back for one more storyline.
So he liked that.
Yeah, but I always send him up now. And, because he's done 2 conventions with me. Dad is not a recluse at all, but he doesn't quite understand about the science fiction conventions, Doctor Who conventions. He walks in and says, what's happening? Why are all these people walking about? But no, it was good. Now I've lost my train of thought. I'm going to say something there. I've totally gone. No? Ask me a question. Anybody got anything else? Oh no, I was going to say, that's it. I know what I'm saying. Sorry about this. It's been a long day. When he says, yes, fans come and say, yes, you were Professor Travers and all this. And I look at him and I say, well, Dad, if you played it today, you wouldn't need any makeup, kid. Because he's got, the grey hair and all this. But no, I'm trying to get my father into more and more conventions. He's a very famous actor in England. He's had a brilliant career. Terence Rattigan wrote for him. A star parts in the West End. And all that. He was involved with Vicky Attenborough, marvellous man. Eccentric, but there you go. And my mother's eccentric too. She was an actress. But I come from a rather large acting family. It's good though. I couldn't do anything else. People say to me, "Did you ever not want to do anything else?" I said, "Well, yes, there was one point when I was about 11. Not much shorter than now. And, well, what do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I fancy being a dentist." And they said, "Why?" And I said, "Because when I meet people and I go, 'Hello,' if you're short, the first thing you see are teeth." I was riveted with teeth for about 3 years. I could see all their fillings. Do you know what I mean? I thought, "What, I've got to be a dentist? That would be good, that would be good." It never worked. All those exams, I couldn't hack that one. No. But my family, my sister Dennis is in the theatre, my brother Giles is doing a TV series in the UK at the moment, and my sister Nicola, she's just got back into acting. We called her the Autumn Crocus because she wasn't expected. She's the youngest one of the family. She's got 3 kids, so she's just getting back into acting, which is great. So we're all in it. I love it. Couldn't do anything.
Good thing you do after all this time.
Oh, yeah.
Has your time in Doctor Who affected the rest of your career? People still talk to you about it, or is it just one on your many list of credits?
Well, I've got a lot of credits, really, but you wouldn't know them over here. Who does come up now time and time again? I have to admit it. It's nice for me to be remembered, really, in Doctor Who as Victoria. But when I did it, as I say, it was just like a joy. But I had a wonderful year in Who. I had lovely Pat Troughton, Fraser, who became like a brother. And it taught me a lot about television technique. And it's a large part of your life, actually, a year in a programme like that, because it was family. It was brilliant. I loved going to rehearsal, because it was home. I don't know what it was about it. We had a lot of laughs in rehearsal, of course we did. But when you actually got in the studio, it was taken deadly seriously. People say to me, "Well, how can you act with plastic monsters?" Well, you get the giggles out of you in rehearsal. And then on the floor then, you have to be absolutely terrified. Because if you're not terrified and you're not convinced, your audience will not be convinced that you're terrified. And you go for it. And this is what we did time and time again. It's very professional. No jokes, not on the floor, not filming. You go for it.
Plus, they did 3 times the amount of episodes per year that they did in the last couple of years.
It was absolute shattering. It really was. And we worked so hard. We only had Sunday off. So that if you were, all right, you did 1 episode, that took 6 days. But in that time, you had to start learning your next episode. It was hard. But I've seen some old tapes of it, etc., and sent various things, and I really think it still stands up. And I love black and white. It's got so much atmosphere.
Yeah.
It really has. Does anyone agree with me?
Yeah.
I think it really does.
Like the old Twilight Zone series.
That's right. I always watch that. We've got that in the UK. And it's on like 4 o'clock in the morning, so I think, well, I'll go to bed at 10 and I can get up then at 4 to see Twilight. And I love all that.
Yeah, the black and whites have a different charm.
You see, there is a charm of their own. Of course there is.
And the monsters look more real in black and white than they do in color.
Do you know, that's exactly what I was going to say. In colour, they have all the wonderful techniques now, which we never had. The set didn't wobble. Ours did. It was something like that. But it somehow looks to me like plastic. I don't know what it is. I actually don't know. There's something wrong. But in black and white, it was so atmospheric. And, I mean, the kids were frightened. You really frightened those kids in those days. When people meet them, they said, "Oh," they're like tall, butch men said, "I used to hide behind the sofa when I was watching you." And I thought, "Thank you very much." What? You know, they did. They actually hid behind the sofas. And so I had to go out the room. Well, Mummy had to cuddle me. You know, give me my blanket.
Was it your decision to leave the show, a mutual decision?
No, it was mine actually. I had a year's contract. And I thought really, I couldn't do anything more with Victoria because in those days the writing wasn't that good for the girl. Not particularly. And she was always being dragged off by various monsters, screaming and saying, Doctor, Doctor, Jamie, 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 quick, quick, quick. All that bit going on. But, I adored it, don't get me wrong. But I thought, no, Watling, I think you've had enough. Go out to the big wide world. And I wanted to do theatre, which I haven't done at all.
They were going to renew you for another year, though, if you wanted to.
Oh, yes. This was the big thing. But they'd written me in. When I went to Innis, I said, right, my contract's up, I'm going. He said, you can't. I said, what do you mean I can't? My contract's up. And he said, no, you've written me in. I mean, we want to stay on. And I said, I can't do anything more with Victoria. Not now, not at this stage. And I have to go.
Were you happy with the way you left? I mean, the way they had
Oh,
Victoria
I was.
leave?
At least they didn't kill me off. You know, I'm left on Earth with foster parents. At least they didn't kill me off. But I do remember the scene when I was leaving, between Pat and Fraser and myself. We had quite a long scene saying goodbye to each other. This is going to sound really corny, but it's not, because it's absolutely true. That we did this scene, and by the end of it, we were all in tears. And the camera in tears. You would hear, if you ever see it again, you can hear like the camera and all that. And it was very, very moving. And I just did the scene and I had to walk out as well as broken down. Because we're so close.
I don't know if you're familiar with this, but later on they did a story called The Two Doctors where Patrick and Fraser came back and did their roles again.
I was doing something else.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask, because they made such a point of writing your character and not Zoe's out of the script.
That's right. I was asked to do it. And I really wanted to. I'd love to have done that. But at the time, I was doing a series, TV series, with Dave Allen. Do you know Dave?
Yes.
Dave Allen, One Finger Dave.
Hilarious.
Brilliant.
Yes.
And I was offered The Two Doctors or a big series with Dave Allen, playing like all the sketches, the wife, the everything with him, which I thought was a great break for me. Brilliant, I must do this. So I turned The Two Doctors down, and halfway through filming with Dave, he went a bit wobbly, a bit ill, and they cancelled the whole series. So I lost out on both accounts.
That's just this comedy series, right?
Yeah.
Because they played that in the station I used to watch all the time before Doctor Who. And it was absolutely one of the
Oh,
best.
it's brilliant. He's a
Oh,
lovely
yes.
man. He really is. We love him terribly well.
Is he still doing anything, or?
I think he does a one-man show every now and again over there. Oh, no, he's brilliant.
Yeah, no, he was really.
He's a nutter. He's brilliant, though.
Yeah.
Brilliant man. And we got on, as I said, terribly well. But no, it was cancelled. So Watling lost out.
Did you at least get paid for it?
Yes, I did. So that wasn't too bad. But I didn't get the exposure, you see, which matters for an actress. It does matter.
What are some of your more recent projects that you worked on?
My more recent. You've had a series of mine over here, well not mine, I was in it, Danger UXB with Anthony Andrews, about unexploded bombs. Have you ever seen that?
It was on cable, but a long time ago, several years ago.
Oh, was it several years ago? Well, I got this part. Because I used to play the pretty girl next door, like the companion, and going, oh, I got this part called Naughty Norma. And this was an eye-opener. She was a cross between, if I can say, Marilyn Monroe and Diana Dawes, right? With a Clapham accent. That's like a Cockney accent. And I had a blonde wig on. I went up for the interview, and it was the guy who, John Hawksworth, who did Upstairs, Downstairs, wrote it. And I went into the interview, and they said, you know, Debbie, how are you, etc. I got it. Terrific. First day of filming, John never left my side. And he said, I want you to come see the Rushes tonight. Now, it wasn't the lead in this. It was a very good role. It was brilliant. Naughty Norma was the landlady's daughter. And the landlady used to put up all the soldiers, a few soldiers. Now, every time the bombs came over and the raid started, naughty Norma got turned on and jumped on the nearest soldier. Right? Now, I thought, this is brilliant. Whoa. Anyway, and John was sort of saying, is this the hair all right? And I thought, why is this man who's writing and producing it so interested in this character? So he said, right, after the first day, come to the rushes. And I did. And I thought, I'm nervous here. Why? Why am I so nervous? I sat down. I knew it meant something to him. And we looked at it. And this vision came on the screen. I didn't even recognise myself. There's no reaction. And it was over, and I thought, well, that's not half bad. I think you've hacked this one well, that's good. And he turned around to me and said, yes, you have got her dead right. And I said, did you know that? Yes. Very well. I did it. That was extraordinary. Had a good time. Anthony Andrews and Judy Geeson.
Yeah, she's been so.
Oh yes, yeah. But Auntie was the big star in that one. It was after. It was just before Brideshead. I don't know if you had Brideshead revisited here. Yes,
It's been through.
You must. Yes, you must.
Yeah.
But my claim on Anthony is that I did a Cliff Richard movie. It was meant to be Cliff back into the movie scene, etc. And we all know who Cliff Richard is, right? And I got the part of his girlfriend, the leading lady in it. And it was brilliant because when the credits were on the screen, I got billing Cliff Richard, Debbie Watling at the time, with Anthony Andrews in small print. He will never forgive me for that.
It's interesting that they replace your character on Doctor Who with a character that they seem to try to make more intelligent on the level of the Doctor, as far as her being from the future.
You see, I never saw. I know Wendy Pemberton, his screamer, but I never saw.
She turned into a screamer after a couple of stories, but
Well, I bet she did.
they tried making the character on more of a level with the Doctor, as far as intelligence.
She was very intelligent, wasn't she?
She was supposed to be a very intelligent girl from the future on a space station.
Yeah. No, Victoria was a lovely character. I enjoyed her immensely. But I didn't want her to be a wimp. In those days, they could be wimps. I mean, real wimps. And as I say, the parts then weren't that good for the girls. But I hopefully played her. I tried to make her like a tomboy towards the end, with a bit of guts.
Have you watched your episodes recently, the ones that are still around?
Yes. I had a few through. Yeah. I said, oh my goodness me. No, yes I have. And I think they would hold up really well.
Which
I really
story
do.
do you think you did your best work in?
That's a very hard question, actually. I don't think it was, I don't think you put it down like that, best work. It's, I don't, see, there were never, in the storylines, Victoria did a lot of running away, a lot of this, that and the other. I mean, it never really differed, so it was rather hard. But I do remember, on the panel today, Dave said about the Cyberman, and he jogged my memory. I had a long speech with Pat Troughton when we were trapped in the tomb of the Cyberman. And it really jogged my memory because I had this hell of a speech like that. And Pat just asked me a question and I went. I said it all. At the time I had flu. And I just got to the end of the speech, the last line, and I fluffed. By this time I am soaking. I could see the stars and like this. And they said, we'll retake it. So I did it again, got through it. I think probably that was maybe not my best work, but my God, I was strong there how to do it, you know what I mean? No, I'd like to think that in every episode you do try and do your best. In every shot you try and do your best. So, if I had a great storyline, I'd say, oh yes, yes, I was up right there. I was always there. Always there. I couldn't pin it down, actually. Not really. We've gone rather quiet here.
Any projects on the future?
Yes, I've been directing a lot as well. But I've got, please, a TV series coming out that I haven't actually signed yet. It's for the BBC. And a great sort of admirer of mine is directing it. He wants me in it. And it's the lead in it.
A series or a movie?
A series. Opposite a man called Carl Hyman. Carl, you heard of that? No. Quite big in the UK. Not in the UK. But I'm just crossing everything at the moment because I don't believe anything until you put your signature on that dotted line. You don't believe a thing. People say, "I'll give you the world." You know, you must be in my mood to this, that, and the other. And some people get carried away and say, "Right, I've got it. This is it. I'm going to be the star. Doing all this." It doesn't work like that. I always class myself really as my father would hate me for saying this, he hates this expression, a jobbing actress. All right, I go out there, I've got my breaks, you go boom, and you go up the ladder, then 2 rungs down, then maybe 1 up, then 3 rungs down. It's all like this. But I couldn't do anything else, and while it comes basically down to, I love it, I love the profession, but you know, you've got to pay your mortgage, we all have mortgages, there's nothing you're going to do with it. But I'm not going to disillusion you because I couldn't do anything else. Now, hopefully I've got a great sense of fun, and I'll be in there until I'm 80, 90, until I die, I reckon.
What about your family? How big is your family, I suppose?
My family, what do you mean, my mother and father and the kids, or what?
Yeah, kids. I don't know if anyone asked that before.
No, it's my mum and dad, and 4 of us in the business, 4 kids. I don't have any children.
You don't have any children?
No, I don't have any children. I've got a wonderful dog. A wonderful dog I rescued from Battersea Dogs.
And
It
has
was
he landed an acting job?
What?
And has he landed an acting job?
Did you know, I did a tour of a play called Wife Begins at 40. And I did it for a year. And I walked into the rehearsal room. It was my dog because he's got to go over with me. I can't leave him at home. He said, "There's your water, there's your bowls," and they're off for 7 weeks. So I walked into the rehearsal room, and the director said, "My God, what a wonderful dog. Is he doing anything?" I said, "What do you mean, is he doing anything?" I said, "He's mine. He's Brill. I mean, he's all bouncy. He's a wide-haired fox terrier, very bouncy." I said, "Dog, a bit schizophrenic." Great butch. And he said, "Well, you know, the part of the dog in this show." And I said, "Yes." He said, "I want your dog, Brill." I went, "You have to be joking." Brill actually got on that stage, and by the end of a week, he knew when he had to go off, he came on, he was not on a lead at all, he came on off that lead, nobody had to push him on, he was straight on that. He knew everything, he stole the show. One notice we had was, Brill steals the show. The actors didn't talk to me for a week. They were saying, don't work with kids and animals. And he was brilliant. That's why I call him Brill. He really is brilliant. But one day one night I should say, the French windows were left open on stage in the Versailles, and I was doing a scene, and all of a sudden, there comes Brill through the French windows, comes up to me, and he's going across the front of the stage. I thought, he shouldn't be on. How's he got up? He shouldn't be on. I say, "Here, Brill, come here." I'm trying to say my lines as well. Brill is going, stepping about, doing all this, gets up on the sofa and just watches the scene. He was tremendous. He really was tremendous. So yeah, that's why he's a pro, my dog. My dog was a pro. There was one point when I was playing something like Plymouth, and Brill, the curtain goes up, and there's Grandad on the sofa with Brill feeding me crisps and watching the box, right, TV. And then we come in, my husband and myself, we come in and we say, "Right, Brill, in the kitchen," which he always did. Off the lead, he was straight in the kitchen. He knew where to go. This particular day, there was a lady in a rather large hat in the front row. So Brill, right, Brill, off in the kitchen, he gets up, and he starts to go, and he goes, does the biggest double take you ever seen. I said, we can't say anything. I said, Brill, get off. In the kitchen, please. Now, come on, he's going. Takes 2 more steps and he goes back to have another look. She's got these flowers and everything else. I thought, any minute now, he's going to leap and land in my hat. I eat it. He brought the house down. Absolutely brought the house down. So I said, get off now. I had to pick him up and chuck him out. You know, get off, dog. Yes. But he's a good boy.
So you called him his real name?
Well, I had to call him Brill. The actual part of the dog was called Gertie. He doesn't answer to Gertie, so it's Brill. It was fun though. But trying to find digs on the road when you've got a 4-legged friend, it's incredibly difficult. Because either they've got cats or they don't allow dogs. One night I had to sleep on the floor. Lady's house, Nashmer's house, with Brill on a mattress. But I say, take my dog. And that's it. I said, do you realise this is a star? You're talking about a star. You say he can't come in here. He's a star. Sure. So, anyway, then we got round it. Yeah. Yes.
Fraser always tells the story of the time that you had to climb up the ladder into a helicopter, and he pulled a trick so that his kilt wouldn't fly up. Can you sort of tell us your side of that?
A ladder in the helicopter?
You remember that scene?
I remember that scene, but it was not a ladder.
Well, it was something like that, where you had to climb up into a helicopter, but the blades were going, and everyone said, well, Fraser, we're finally going to see what's under your kilt. But he tricked everyone.
That was always going on. I think he's embellishing this. I'm terribly sorry. Sorry, phrase, but I think he's embellishing this one. No, we didn't have to go up a rope or whatever, a ladder. No, I remember the scene very well. I told him the panel today. Was anybody in the panel today? I mean, anybody? No? Right, well...
I got a little late there.
Well, Fraser, there came a question about, did you ever do any of your own stunts? And I said, well, Victoria would never be allowed to do stunts. She was a Victorian lady, Victorian miss. But there was one time, and the shot was that Fraser and I were running away from, here's another monster. And you had to go to this helicopter and leap in, and on one shot to go right up and land on the top of a cliff, which is blooming high. And I'm not quite good with heights. I have to admit it. So I said to Fraser, look, Fraser, I said, because the helicopter had no doors. It's one of those that you look straight out and straight down. And I said, Fraser, I'm a bit nervous about this down here. Would you let me in first? Can I get to the helicopter first? So I can get in the middle between the pilot and you. I'll be in the middle. And he said, of course, Deb. Of course I will. So you're big and butch, that's fine. So the director shouted, action. We started to run and run. I've never seen Fraser run so fast in my life. And he beat me. So I was on the outside looking down because he was scared. He wouldn't admit to me he was scared. So that's the one. But I don't remember a rope. Don't remember. It was a brilliant trip actually. Whoa, straight away out and thinking, oh wow.
You play any instruments or?
No, I used to learn the piano, but as children do, they get bored, and I gave it up, really. I wish I hadn't. Now, if you want to hear some good playing, Mark Strickson is brilliant, and he writes music. He was with the National Youth Theatre, and he was brought up as a musician. You must, if you're about for the cabaret, you've got to see him.
I seen him a couple of years ago. It's good.
Oh, stunning, absolutely stunning. Really is. Oh, I've got one more story. Can I tell you one more? Have I got time?
Yes.
Am I running out?
You're on.
How long have I got? 20 minutes? You're joking. Can't have it. The Yeti story, when we were up Snowdonia. And my dad was there as well, of course, playing with the travellers and cats and all that. It was freezing, absolutely freezing. Anyway, there was a scene where Fraser and I have just discovered where the Yeti's cave is, and we start running down the mountain. So we set the shot up.
That
And
still
the-
exists, yeah.
And the yetis have got to chase us down the mountain. And I always thought the yetis were rather endearing, quite frankly. I wanted to cuddle them a lot. So the director says, right, let's go for it. Action. So Fraser and I start running down the mountain with these huge yetis lumbering behind us, trying to catch us up. And of course, they fall over. And they start to roll. And they gather momentum. So we're running and they pass us. And all I can hear is, let me out, let me out, let me out, help, help. The men inside the yeti costumes. Oh dear. Well, honestly, when I saw this, Fraser and I went, I don't believe this, we crump. That was it. Oh, please. Oh, it was brilliant. Loved all that.
John
Loved all
Wayne
the film.
was in November Fear as one of the Yeti. He said he remembers scaring a dog by jumping up.
Warren at it.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine that. Well, John Levine is a lovely gentleman. Because I first worked with him as he was a monster. And then he got Benton.
He's a Cyberman, then he was
That's right, Benton. And, oh dear John, he had admitted himself, I'm not telling the stories out of school here, but he used to come to me and say, Debs, I've got this line, how do I say it? You know, because he was so new to it. And now I see him now, he's like a man in his own right. And he's there, he's got confidence, he's fine. But I just only wish that John could get his green card. It's just ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah, he could have a lot
Then
of work.
what do you do? What do you do? You can't force them and say, give me a green card. Or else, can you? I mean, I'd love to work out here. But, you know, there's no way. Not really.
Yes.
Unless you're wanted for a specific part in a movie or a TV series, then you can't do it. Your hands are tied. Quite honestly. I could come out here and stay, but I wouldn't get work. Not really. I mean, they like the English, but I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. I'd love to do some stuff out here. You see, this is why the conventions are so good for me, because I meet people. And that's what I'm here for. I love meeting people. I mean, maybe slightly gregarious, I don't know. I just like chatting to the supporters, the fans. I hate that word fans, actually. But do you know what I mean? And I want to walk about, and my lovely lady Elizabeth is with me and takes me about a bit. And I say, it's all right now. I'll have a little walk about on my own. I love chatting, that's all. Because if the fans weren't here, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's John's attitude. Too.
And it's so flattering. Really is a program I did actually 24 years ago. To be asked that and all this interest is amazing.
What are your impressions of this country? I'm always interested in people
Now,
who
look
visit
here.
here.
I haven't seen a lot. Not a lot. My first impressions.
Of Americans, of
Oh, goodness.
strange American people.
What? Now, you said that, aren't you?
No.
No. Americans make you feel terribly welcome. Very welcome. They don't have that English reserve. They say, hello, how are you? Have a nice day, how wonderful for you to come to our country and do this, that and the other. And I said, well, I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you very much, because the English aren't quite used to that introduction. I find it rather nice. I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. I've seen some of your cities. Everything's bigger. It is. Everything's bigger.
More spread out.
Yeah. Incredible skyscrapers. Oh, goodness me. Bigger Christmas trees. I'm not going to say bigger people, because I'm not true. I don't know. And your TV is extraordinary to me. The adverts, what I've seen, is either second-hand cars, food, children's toys, something else. I do not know what it was. Because we don't, you have the hard sell out here, don't you? We have kind of a softer sell, but we're getting that way to the harder sell. really. But I always know that when the hard sell's coming on, the volume goes, yeah. You haven't touched the volume button, it's going, yeah.
Yeah, they were having advertisements in movie theaters last year also. I don't know if they've done it that much this year. They still haven't, but they were putting actual commercials before a movie that you go pay to see.
It's common
And
now.
that's
doing it on video now too.
they have it
Videotapes
on
too
videos
nowadays.
too, and it's like you're paying to see something in the theater, and they're still advertising to you. It's ridiculous.
Do you remember that thing they used to do, which was banned now, in the footage of a film?
Subliminal
That had one shot of, say, a
Subliminal
car,
eat
or
popcorn.
Yeah.
but you didn't register it in the eyes.
Right.
It was here, wasn't
Uh-huh.
it? And they banned it.
Yep.
Eat popcorn, drink Coke.
That's it. That's
And
it.
they tried getting people to
But
sell
that's like
something.
brainwashing, isn't it?
Yep.
It's like
Yeah.
total brainwashing.
Black and orange.
That is weird.
They supposedly do that in supermarkets in the music they put on to prevent people from shoplifting. They have some kind of subliminal.
Oh, do they?
I've heard that.
It's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it really?
Yeah, I used to work for Superman.
Oh, right. I've heard a thing over in the UK now that for people who don't pay their bills on time, and they spray, I don't believe it, they spray an aggressive male odour on the bill. So that when you open it up, you think, I've got to pay this, I've got to pay this. Actually, they do. They're actually coming up with this. You must have it here. Do you know?
I don't know.
I pay
It's
my
a
bills on time.
it's
Maybe they don't do that
psychological.
to
You
me.
can smell it. It sort of registers. But you think, but I haven't got one yet. I haven't got one. I always wait for the red one, the last one. I think, oh, it's aggressive male odour on the bill. But don't ask me where they get the odour from, because I don't know.
Well, maybe they use female ones for the men customers and male ones for the female customers or something.
You're
That'd be
joking. Who
interesting.
opens the envelope when it comes to the letterbox?
Well,
The male, the female. I mean, I usually do actually. It's me. I'm the brave one in the family.
so if you're
Where's
single
the
and
bill?
if you live alone, it's whoever's.
I don't live alone. I have a very nice fellow. Very nice fellow. We've been together for 7 years now, which is great. And
You're not
thank-
married?
No, he's just got through cancer. And so we've beaten it, which is great. It's been going on for, I suppose, 18 months. So we've actually beaten it. I'm so proud of that. It's a terrible shock to the system when your fellow's got cancer. And I was working very hard. I used to come back to this man who couldn't quite cope because we knew we had it. We never said the word. Nobody says the word, which is ridiculous. And I said to him one night when I got back from work, I said, darling, I'm here. I'm not here to bury you. There's no way I'm going to do that. We'll fight this. And we've done it. The last test was clear. So we've bloody done it. Sorry, I'm swearing. But it's, you know, you can do it. Positive attitude, you can do it.
Is your man a performer?
No, he's on the other side of the business. He's into lighting and sound. He used to be a marvellous bass player. He used to be part of Freddie and the Dreamers. I don't know if you know that group over here. The bass player there. He got to number 2 in the charts, number 1 in groups. But then he said, I've had enough of this. This is it. He tried to run his own studio out in Jersey. It didn't quite work. Came back and he's going into trade shows and conferences and doing all that, lighting, sound and rigging. And come on, he's I suppose, like 40, over 40 now. And he says to me, Watling, I can't do this for very much longer, especially what he's gone through. So I want him to specialise into lighting and sound. Really. So, no, he's a good boy. Great.
He's not here.
He said to me, well, if I get the fare, can I come over? And I said, yes, Dan, of course you can. But you see, we all, as I say, have to pay the mortgage, we've got a lot of work. And I couldn't afford that. We've never actually had a holiday together, which is terrible in 7 years. Because you have to work in this climate, because the recession in England is absolutely ghastly. And you have to work the whole time.
It's pretty bad over here these days, too.
Pardon?
It's pretty bad over here these days, too.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's,
the government doesn't like to admit it, but it's not over.
No, you see, ours isn't either. I've got the wave from Elizabeth. I've got to leave, you know. I could go on all night here.
Thanks a lot.
Is that my
Thank you
time
very
up?
much.
Oh,
Kenny's got
okay.
a nice smile.
Yes, I can. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. I thought I might be on my own at one point. No, not quite, no. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.